When It Rains. It had been an unpleasant few weeks for Diesel. After the confusion and delay he had caused for James and Henry, the Fat Controller saw it best to send him to Wellsworth to learn how to properly shunt, and Edward was assigned to teach him. Edward is an old engine, and his age was catching up with him. His parts were beginning to wear down. At first, this wasn't an issue, but it was becoming apparent that his brakes were becoming faulty.
Hello, Edward.
Hello, Diesel.
Is everything all right? You came in a little fast.
Yes. Everything's okay. Nothing I can't manage. Diesel knew something wasn't quite right, but he didn't want to say anything about it. The Fat Controller came to see them one night in the sheds.
You both have been working hard these past few days. I'm proud of you both. Edward, I want you to continue to teach Diesel. He still has a lot to learn.
Yes, sir. There's an issue, though, sir. You see, my brakes...
No need to tell me. Your driver has told me all about your brakes. However, I'm unable to send you to the works right now. With Boko currently in the Diesel works, you're needed here until I can spare an engine. Can you manage for a bit longer?
I'll do my best.
Good. Derek will cover your passenger trains until you are able to be mended. That should lighten your workload.
With that, the Fat Controller left, leaving Edward and Diesel in silence. Over the next few days, Edward was working in the yard with Diesel. Edward's brakes had worn down immensely, and Diesel was becoming agitated with everything Edward did. Whenever Edward would try to stop, he would slide before he came to a standstill. Sometimes, Edward would block Diesel's line, causing trains that needed to be shunted to run late. Edward didn't mean any harm, but Diesel was beginning to think otherwise. Diesel, you need to stop being so rough with the trucks. Taking out your frustrations on them isn't going to solve anything.
Well, you're not making things easy by constantly gallivanting about and getting in my way, snapped Diesel.
I'm afraid I can't help it much. You heard Sir Topham Hatt. My brakes are worn. You'll have to be much more alert, especially if something were to happen. You might just need to help me when I can't do it alone.
Ha! Help you? As if. The only way to help an ancient relic like you is to put you in a museum.
Diesel paused.
Or even better, a scrapyard.
He finished and laughed rudely. The two engines didn't say anything else to each other for the rest of the night. The next morning, dark clouds began to fill the air, bringing with them plenty of rain and leaving everywhere soaked. Late that day, Edward was preparing a train when the station master came to see him.
Derek has broken down, and his passengers are currently stuck at Brendam.
Edward, will you be able to take his last train for the day? It's light, so you should be able to manage. I'd be happy to, smiled Edward.
Try not to break a crank pin. You won't make it back this time, snickered Diesel.
Army hearty, it seems the storm be getting fierce. I'd be careful, warned Salty. Don't worry, Salty. I'm no stranger to working in the rain, smiled Edward, as he slowly began to roll away with the coaches. Phew, puffed Edward as he was buffeted by the rain. I thought the station master said this was going to be a light train. Soon he was rolling down Suttery Hill and was beginning to pick up speed. Now that's more like it, smiled Edward as he coasted down the line. However, as he approached the station, he noticed he was still going rather fast. Brakes, please, driver, called Edward. Edward's driver tried to apply the brakes, but nothing happened. Edward just glided through the station at high speeds. The passengers were surprised. The station master had seen everything, and quickly phoned ahead to Wellsworth. Diesel was shunting about in the yards, when the station master came running up to him. "Edward's brakes have failed," cried the station master. "He's not going very fast, but it could be dangerous if he gets onto the main line. We must stop him." "Then there's no time to lose," said Diesel. Looking around the yard, he spotted 2 brake vans. He backed onto them and raced out of the yard. Working quickly, Diesel waited at the station platform. Moments later, Edward came rolling around the bend, whistling fit to burst, rolled into the back of the brake vans, and Diesel began applying his brakes. He put every ounce of weight he had against the train, and slowly but surely brought it to a stop just before the viaduct. "Phew," said Edward. "I thought I'd never stop. Thank you, Diesel." Everyone began to cheer for Diesel and his heroics. Even Gordon, who had just arrived with the express. The station master wasn't as enthusiastic, however. "It's great the train stopped," he said. "But what about the passengers who were supposed to get off at Suttery? There's no engine to get them back there now." "What if Diesel were to take the train, sir?" asked Edward. "It's much lighter now, so we should have no trouble getting them there." The station master thought it over. "Yes, that's a fine idea, Edward." Diesel was coupled to the coaches. And like Edward said, Diesel made it to the station with no fuss. The passengers all thanked him dearly. Later that night, Sir Topham Hatt came to see the 2 engines. "Marvelous work today, both of you," he said. "I am happy to say that with his maintenance nearly being finished, Boko should be returning in the coming days, so you should be able to go in for repairs very soon. And Diesel, you were very heroic today. What you did took smarts and bravery, and I am glad to have you as an engine on my railway. You are a credit to the line. As a reward for what you have done, I shall be giving you a new coat of paint and polish. Have a good night, you 2. Sir Topham Hatt was just about to leave, when he remembered. "Also, Diesel, thank you for warning me about Edward's brakes." Edward smiled as Sir Topham Hatt left. "You did a very lovely job saving me today, Diesel." Edward smiled. "I wasn't saving you. I was saving the passengers. Had it been a goods train, I would have just let you roll on through." "Of course," chuckled Edward, and he smiled knowing that perhaps Devious Diesel wasn't so devious after all.